Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a critical vulnerability hiding in modern IT infrastructure. We're going to explore exactly why security gaps cause breaches, and how these attacks are quietly succeeding right under our noses. Look, if you're managing a network, protecting sensitive client data, or just trying to keep operations running smoothly, you absolutely have to understand this massive blind spot in modern cybersecurity, and how the source material outlines a strategy called Boom 365 Complete to finally tackle it.
Here's the core issue. Most organizations tend to protect either their users, meaning their email, identity, and cloud apps, or they focus on protecting their devices, like laptops and servers. But rarely do they protect both under one unified strategy. And as the source material makes incredibly clear, leaving one of these areas disconnected leaves you fatally exposed right down the middle. This fragmentation, it is precisely why security gaps cause breaches today.
Think of your cybersecurity like a giant relay race. You've got one runner protecting your cloud and email, and a totally different runner protecting your physical devices. Well, the handoff between them is a concept known as the seam. And right now, organizations are dropping the baton in that exact spot over and over again, because virtually every real incident crosses it. It's the very space where modern attacks live and thrive, simply because nobody is monitoring the gap between the systems.
There's this fantastic concept from the source material that really hits the nail on the head. Half covered is exposed. It firmly anchors the reality that having siloed, disconnected defenses is basically the same as locking your windows but leaving your front door wide open. If your email filter doesn't communicate with your laptop's antivirus, you just aren't fully covered. You're essentially just waiting for a threat actor to find that disconnected space.
Okay, let's picture how this actually plays out in a classic real-world scenario. It always starts in the inbox, right? A highly convincing phishing message somehow slips past your standard email filter. The user clicks a bad attachment and it executes on a laptop that lacks proper endpoint detection and response, or EDR. In an instant, what started as a simple email problem morphs into a full-blown network breach. Why? Because the security gap prevented the email system from warning the device, and nobody was watching that handoff.
Now flip that around, because the reverse scenario perfectly illustrates just how terrifyingly fast these events move. Imagine a compromised endpoint quietly harvesting cached credentials at minute 1. By minute 5, the attacker is already moving laterally across the network. And by minute 10, literally just 10 minutes later, that attacker signs into your Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace cloud apps as a fully trusted user. Device-only protection never sees the account takeover happening in the cloud, and the cloud protection assumes the login is perfectly legitimate. It's a textbook example of why these operational gaps lead to absolutely devastating breaches.
Traditionally, trying to patch this creates a logistical nightmare. You end up with separate email security and endpoint tools, which means you're juggling 2 vendors, 2 dashboards, 2 separate contracts, and inevitably a whole lot of finger-pointing during an incident. Coverage gaps hide right there in the space between those vendors. But the source material outlines how the Boom Logic approach upends this entire model by unifying both attack surfaces. You get one managed plan, a single monitoring team watching both sides, unified recovery, and most importantly, 0 coverage gaps.
So, the direct solution outlined to fix this widespread problem is Boom 365 Complete. This bundle brings foundational user security and endpoint defense together in a beautifully synchronized way. Instead of piecing together a totally fragmented defense strategy and hoping for the best, Boom 365 Complete aims to ensure that every single user is protected and every single device is secured, completely closing that dangerous seam we've been talking about.
Instead of disparate, clunky tools, this subscription actually bundles 12 core capabilities. On the identity and user side, you're getting safeguards like total email security, phishing simulations, dark web monitoring, and SaaS backup. But rather than stopping there, these are seamlessly paired with heavy-duty device-level defenses. We're talking remote monitoring, automated patching, next-gen antivirus, EDR, and ransomware detection. They are designed from the ground up to be deployed together and monitored together.
One standout detail you absolutely need to know from this toolkit is the number 250. Every single device on the Complete plan gets 250 gigabytes of automated endpoint backup included right out of the box. This is a massive recovery tool, because if a machine gets lost, stolen, or hits that worst-case scenario and is encrypted by ransomware, your critical data gets restored without you having to start from scratch.
Now, if your specific organization requires even more firepower on the endpoint side, you can easily layer on some optional CrowdStrike upgrades. For an extra $10 per user a month, you get CrowdStrike Pro EDR for advanced, real-time threat intelligence. And for $15, you can step up to CrowdStrike Enterprise, which brings proactive, 24/7 managed threat hunting and adversary tracking directly to your endpoints. It is the absolute highest tier of endpoint defense they offer, seamlessly bolted onto your complete plan.
Let's talk economics for a second, because it's actually wonderfully transparent here. Boom 365 Complete is priced strictly on user count, and that single price covers both the person and their device. If you've got 10 to 24 users, you're looking at $85 per user a month. Now, in a space where scaling usually means multiplying your costs, the economics here actually get cheaper as you grow. Hit that mid-market sweet spot of 50 to 99 users, and it drops to $79. And for enterprise volume at 200+ users, it scales all the way down to $70, all arriving on one predictable invoice. Getting onboarded is incredibly straightforward, and it's structured to heavily reward your commitment. The monthly rate never changes based on your term length, only the upfront setup cost does. So a 1-year term means your onboarding costs exactly 1 month of your subscription. A 2-year term cuts that onboarding cost by 50%. And if you sign a 3-year term, your onboarding is completely free. The longer you partner with BoomLogic to secure your systems, the lower your upfront startup costs become.
So who really benefits the most from this level of bundled protection? Well, if you're listening, this might be you, because this setup creates a unified, fully auditable evidence trail across both layers. It's an absolute game changer for specific industries. Healthcare practices navigating strict HIPAA requirements, government contractors needing airtight CMMC documentation, and financial services protecting sensitive client data all benefit massively. Plus, if you're a multi-location business, or honestly just an organization trying to successfully renew your cyber insurance policies without a headache, having both user and endpoint controls in one managed plan is exactly what auditors and insurers want to see.
And the best part is that BoomLogic handles all the heavy lifting over a very structured timeline, so your team can actually focus on running the business. On day 1, they conduct a full security assessment, auditing your email posture and endpoint health to find any existing gaps. By day 14, so just 2 weeks in, they execute a unified deployment, rolling out the agents, the security, and the backups all at once. And from day 15 onward, you are officially in a state of continuous protection, getting 24/7 monitoring, automated patching, and